A lot of young men in today's day and age have been searching for what it means to be a man, what it means to be the provider, if you will, what it means to be that foundation of a family, and what that even means. Because I don't know what it is, but it just seems like, well, it's not even, it seems like it really has been the past decade at least, probably even longer than that. It's just been a constant downhill spiral of the red pill where there's some things I agree with and there's other things where it's like, okay, well, that's just kind of being almost too cruel in a way, I guess you could say. I understand the whole debate of spinning plates and things like that, but it's also like it really should be the most productive it has always been for relationships is the guy, one man, one woman type deal. That's just the foundation of the family. And I think as soon as you start trying to work your way around that, trying to find your pursuits, your happiness outside of that. I mean, there's obviously other things that can make you happy, but I think the fundamental thing that will make you more fulfilled, if you will, is having that solid foundation to then be able to have children, to then instill in them the values to then bring forward in their life. I really think that's what it means to be a strong individual, specifically a man, because I'm a young guy. And then you just have examples like this on the internet where you just have this guy who's all about you need to be six pack, ripped, be the biggest guy in the room type deal. You need to be able to look the part, not even really play the part. And their arguments just fall flat as soon as they start speaking. I mean, this whole interview is just hilarious to me because this man is just a giant man child, it seems like. If you guys haven't heard, or if you live under a rock, Wes Watson is the guy, I can't really point, but it's the fourth guy from the left, the tattooed guy. I mean, to be honest, he's not even really that big. I mean, he's a bigger guy, of course. I mean, take steroids, you can be that big. But I mean, for all intents and purposes, he's really not even like that big. Like I've seen guys that are just a lot bigger than him. So even on that standpoint, he wouldn't even qualify in and of himself to be like the alpha male. But anyway, there's this whole interview back and forth going on what success is, what it means to be successful, and his worldview is just completely about materialism. Like it's just all about money, having a hot girlfriend, fast cars, big house type deal. And it's like, bro, that stuff, I mean, sure, it's always nice to have things like that, of course. But if you make that your sole pursuit and focus in life, you're going to be so empty on the inside because you would never have enough. Like it's just constantly wanting more and more and more, and it will never satisfy you. And he really gets into it with Andrew Wilson, who is the third guy from the right. And his standpoint was that what he thinks being a man is having a family. And I definitely agree with that. I think you being a role model to your kids is what it means to be a father or a man, a father, and all the above. I do agree that you should probably not necessarily like make money the sole focus, but you should definitely have money to be able to provide. And I also agree that you should be fit because I do believe that our bodies we need to take care of them. And so what does that mean? It means you don't have to like go do a bunch of steroids and stuff, but be going to the gym or at least be doing some physical activity to keep your heart healthy, eating the right foods, not eating a ton of food, eating the right amount of food, resting, everything like that. I mean, it's all about a balanced life. Same thing goes with success. I mean, sure, you have the people who are just head over heels, just chasing dreams and things like that. And hey, I'm all for it. Definitely am all for it. But you also have to understand that there's always a sacrifice in literally everything you do. And when you make money the sole goal in your life to obtain more and more of it, you're sacrificing all of the relationships that you have in order to achieve it. And that's really why I really why I don't like the hardcore alpha male whatever they want to call themselves red pill guys. like Wes Watson, because their argument is just so superficial, so shallow, I guess you could say. It really just falls flat on its face as soon as they start speaking about it, because you can see there's just no depth to it. I mean, in this interview, it I will definitely encourage you guys to go listen to it. Like, he gets up, like, just in his face, he is like so. I'm trying to see where he's like stands up, and he does this a couple times where he just gets up and starts yelling at him, and it's so funny to see, because even the comments down here are just they're just so spot on. It says wearing a white on your period is bull. I mean, this guy is just he loses it. He's like the and I wouldn't even say Andrew Wilson is like super smart, but you can definitely tell that he's an intellectual, if you will. He's just very calm, cool, collected in a way. I mean, not all the time. He obviously loses it sometimes, but for the most part, he's very precise with his wording, and that's what I really like about him. And so he's just picking him apart, and of course, the big guy in the white there. I mean, he's losing the argument, so he's getting up and yelling, talking about how he's gonna hit him and stuff. It's like, bro, you already lost. Just take the L. Just take the L. You lost the moment you started flaring up, started shouting, started talking about beating people. You lost the argument. So I used to think exactly like Wes, then I turned 16. I mean, true. I'm sure all of us thought like this when we were teenagers. It's all about the fast cars, hot girls, bunch of money. And then we grew up and realized, well, there's more to life than just that. I don't know. It's weird. I mean, it's just kind of how it seems to be. This is confidence is quiet, insecurity is loud, and that's really just like the whole focus, if you will, of my point on that is that Andrew Wilson already knows what the argument is that he has, and so he doesn't have to flare out, if you will, with his emotions. He just sits down, he's just talking. Whereas Wes Watson, it's just insecurity. It has to be. It just has to be just an overabundance of insecurity on his part, because he just is just out of control the entire show. I don't want to say the entire show, but for a majority of it. And so, if you could imagine, if you look up Wes Watson, it was a guy who served time in jail for like 10 years, and somehow that is like the peak masculinity that we're supposed to aim for. And it always just makes me wonder, it's like, do people not realize that you usually go to jail for doing something wrong, especially if it's like 10 years? So maybe you should think about like why he went to jail, to then maybe see if that would be something that you should be following. I mean, I'm not going to deny that he has a lot of money, because at least it seems like he does, because he has, at least based on his social media presence, fast cars and stuff like that. But again, it's like, at what point does that turn from, or what point does that turn into success? I guess for people, success is subjective. Sure, up to a certain point, it is nicer to have more money. But after you get up to that threshold, if you will, anything over that, it's like, okay, you have money, so what? If you're not using that money in any way to help other people, in my opinion, it means absolutely nothing. I mean, you can have all the money in the world, and what does it matter if you're just living for yourself? I mean, but that brings in a whole other discussion. But yeah, my takeaway is what it means to be a man is, I think both, really, but that's just my personal opinion, is being fit. So I do agree, at least on that part, with Wes Watson. Maybe not to that degree where you're taking steroids. Being fit, being active, making money, not like to be where the sole focus of your life is making money, but having money to provide. But then also having that family with a loving wife and children, and you being that foundation for your family, and being the provider and the role model, where you're disciplining where you should be, loving, and all of the above. I think all of those together just make the ideal man. I don't know, maybe just because that's what we've seen in history with guys who have lived at least admirable lives, is that not all of them all the time had all of those, but in some way or another they were able to be leaders in their field, or leaders in their family or leaders in community, something like that. They were just leaders in whatever they were trying to do. And I really think that's what it means to be a high value guy. I mean, but that's just my opinion. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments, what you think high value is. If it is chasing money, if it's chasing some other thing. I'm just curious to see what other people have to think. But if you guys like the video, make sure to leave a like, and I hope to see you guys around. Peace.